Hey there guys and gals. By now we've probably, hopefully, already identified the Makey Makey. And we've hopefully already created a hand controller or game controller using cardboard and connecting it to the Makey Makey. What happens if we want to take it to the next step and we want to actually CAD and 3D print our own controller? Well, have we got some fun ahead? So we're going to use OnShape, which is an online CAD software, and we're going to, as you can see on the screen here, the first thing we want to do before we create our own controller is do a little mock-up and create a dummy model of the circuit board to scale, so we know that when we design our controller we can actually put a CAD version of the circuit board into the controller and see that it all fits. So without further ado, we are going to convert this little guy into this little guy. How do we do that? Let's go to our OnShape. First thing we're going to do is you've signed in, hopefully. I believe that you've already used OnShape before, so we're going to create a new document. And let's call it Makey Makey Control Board. Boom, boom, boom. Easy done. Create a public document. Now, I'm going to be referring back because, as I've just shown you, I've already created it in CAD. When I've done that, I've now created dimension drawings, so I don't have to keep measuring with my ruler again. But I'm going to be referring to my dimension drawings, front and back, as we make this together. Let's get cracking. Let's start on the front surface or the front plane, and I've just left clicked on it and clicked sketch. Alright, so now we're straight away in the sketch mode. Now I want to have that front on because at the moment it's in that orthographic three-dimensional view. So I'm going to come over here to the little orbit box and click single left click on front, and as you can see now it's boom 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 front on. The other thing I don't want to see is all of these extra squares and stuff around the place. So if we jump on over to the left side, you'll see in the features tree here, you'll see default geometry origin, and you'll see top, front and right, and just next to them is a little eyeball. So if you click on that eyeball, you actually end up hiding those drawing planes. So it takes a little bit of confusion out of the screen for us. Alright, the first thing we want to do is outline the main rectangular shape of our Makey Makey board. So we're in sketch mode, and I know that because we've got all of these sketch tools here. We've got this word saying sketch here, we've got sketch here, sketch everywhere. We want to grab a corner rectangle tool. So single left click on that corner rectangle tool, and you'll see now up in this toolboard it's highlighted. We're going to bring our cursor down, and this is the origin. So this is the center of the earth, okay, or the center of the CAD screen, determined as 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, and 0 on the Z axis. Don't worry about that. We're going to single left click, so I'm just going to click and remove my hands from, or remove the mouse button, and as I draw outwards, you'll notice, or all I'm doing is moving my mouse outwards, you'll notice we're starting to develop a rectangle. Now our shape is going to be 95 millimeters by 50 millimeters. I don't want you to just spend forever trying to get this exact, okay? Just get it as close as you can, like that. Perfect. Beautiful. What we're going to do now is we're going to fully define this rectangle. So you'll notice 2 lines of black, 2 lines of blue. Basically means we are not fully defined yet. So what we want to do is we want to put a correct dimension on here. So let's come up to this ribbon up here, and we're going to scroll along until right here in the middle. You can either use the D key on your keyboard as a shortcut, or you can just click on that icon. You'll see it turns blue. With that icon selected, we're going to come over here to this first vertical line. and you'll notice as we hover over it, our cursor turns orange. We're going to click on that, and seriously, you're probably going, I already know all of this, miss. Fantastic. If you do remember it from when you've done your little key tag and some other stuff in OnShape, just blitz this away. This bottom line we're going to make now 95. Boom. And as you can see, all of those lines are now black. Beautiful. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to extrude that rectangle. So we're going to come back up to the top ribbon here, and you'll notice over here is a button that says Extrude. Keyboard shortcut if you wanted to, Shift and E. I don't remember all the keyboard shortcuts, so we're just going to click that. Straight up, here's our shape. By default, the computer will select solid, it'll select new, and by default it says 25 millimeters. We're going to just simply change that 25, so I just left click, it highlights the whole thing. We're going to change that to 3, so I'm just going to type in 3 and press enter on my keyboard. Automatically defaults to 3 millimeters. Green tick. Huzzah! There's the start of our circuit board. Just going to click on that front icon there again, and as you can see, it'll lock into place. If I want to move or orbit this around, I can press my scroll wheel down and hold my scroll wheel down and move my mouse like this. If I want to actually scroll in and out, you don't press your scroll wheel, you just scroll it. And if I want to pan or move this object, what I'm going to do is hold the control button on my keyboard and press and hold my mouse scroll wheel. Alright, and that will pan it. Alright, enough about those mouse controllers. We want to now draw on here. The first thing we're going to draw are the red outlines of the Makey Makey board. Okay, so we're actually going to draw them. We're going to cut them in a little bit, and then we're going to draw the gold plated or bronze plated circuit board material and just extrude that out a little bit so we get that definition. And then we're going to flip it over and just do some very brief rectangular extrudes to just so hide, well not hide, but show where those pins are. So let's do this. This is where it gets a little bit trickly. Click on that surface, turns orange. We're going to come back up here to the sketch button. Shift S on the keyboard or just simply select. Alright, bear with us as we go through this. So notice I've just held my control button and my scroll wheel. Now, first things first, we're going to start with 2 rectangles. So I've selected the corner rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw one rectangle like that and one rectangle like that. That's all we're going to do. Now we're going to dimension this. Okay, so we're going to do this step by step, and hopefully if you get caught or stuck along the way, please pause the video, take it back a little bit to where you got stuck and redo it. If you get over crazy with everything, Control Z on the keyboard will undo things so you can go back to a stage where everything was all good and under control. Okay, so we're going to start dimensioning this little cross bit, which is the red cross here on the Makey Makey board. Alright, boom. Let's go dimension. First things first, let's make this top line 10.5 millimeters. So we're going to click on that line, get our dialog box and go 10.5. And we're going to do exactly the same on this horizontal one, vertical. Soz. Come over here, make that 10.5. Boom. The next thing we want to do is define the distance between this horizontal line and this horizontal line. So what we're going to do is click on that one and click on that one, bring that dimension over and make that 11. And we're going to do the same at the bottom here. So we're going to click on, now hopefully you haven't, like, sometimes, and if I just untick my dimension box, sometimes you might end up with something like that. Alright, if you do, just deselect your dimension box or press escape on your keyboard and then come over to this bottom line here, hover on it so it turns orange, hold your left mouse button down and just drag it down until it gives you enough space to be able to put that next dimension in. So let's grab our Smart Dimension tool and let's go from this bottom line to this bottom line, and again that one's going to be 11. Same size on here. Alright, so we're going to go from this line here to this line here, and that's going to be 11. Whew, and look at that, I've got just enough gap here to be able to select this line and make that 11. So in principle, that's the size of the red on the circuit board. However, we need to position it from the top surface to there and from the side surface to there. Alright, we need that dimension in there. So what I'm going to tell you now, ignore all the other ones. On the left edge here, I want you to left select that left edge and then left select that left edge. That dimension is going to be 10. And what we're going, that 11 is in my way and it's confusing me. What we want to do now is I'm going to select this edge on my drawing, boom, and this edge on my drawing, boom, and that should be 21, beautiful, happy days. But now I need to know how far from the top this is going to be. I've already got 11 here, so I'm going to click this here and this one here, bring that over. This sketch 2 is in the way. I'm going to bring that over and click, and that's going to be 14. If I sort of maneuver that, it's all a little bit confusing right now, and you're probably going, yes, this doesn't make sense, I hate this, it's confusing. I know that that is what gets said, because that is always what happens when we start learning a new project. So I'm just moving my dimensions so they're kind of, you can see where the arrows go. Alright, again, if you've got confused, take the video back to the beginning and start again. But you'll notice now our little cross here is all, the lines are all black, which means it's fully defined, which means it's good to go. The only thing I'm going to do now on this is actually get rid of this little center square bit, because you don't really have that on Makey Makey. So up here on the ribbon, there's a pair of scissors that's called trim. We're going to select that, and I'm going to hover over that line and left click, disappears. This line, left click, this line, left click. Now say for example, oops, I got rid of the wrong one. Control Z on my keyboard. Easy peasy. Only thing is, my trim tool has now been deselected, so now you have to come back, reselect your trim tool and get rid of that line. That's that part done. The next part we are going to do is, now I can't remember, yes, we're going to put the circle in the middle. So on the circuit board there you can see the little white circle. We're going to put that circle in the middle. To find the exact middle though, we could do a whole heap of dimensions if we wanted to, or we can do 2 dotted cross lines through the middle and we find this is what happens. Up here on the ribbon again, just over from the trim tool, you'll see a little button that's got a solid line, 2 reversing arrows and a dotted line, and it says construction. We're going to select that first, and then we're going to select our line tool. It deselected. Let's get our line tool, make sure that's highlighted, and if your construction button deselected, come back and reselect it. So you should have those 2 buttons highlighted blue. What we're going to do now is from here down to here and double click. Press escape on your keyboard. We're going to have to do that again because it shouldn't have done that. So we'll get those line tools again and we'll draw across from there. Boom. Done. Okay. Circle tool. Here's our center point circle, and we can find straight away with that construction, there's the circle. We're going to draw it. Now notice how it's construction, it's a dotted circle. We don't want it to be a dotted circle. So let's untick the construction line. Confusing. Anyway, I'm going to redo that again. Make sure when you choose your circle tool, your construction button is not selected. So currently, see it's selected, unselect it. Okay, so all I did was Control Z to get rid of that other one. Unselect the construction button, click, draw a circle, find our dimension tool or D on the keyboard, and the diameter of that circle is 5 millimeters. Done. That's those guys done. Now, all we need to do are the 2 red circles for the buttons and the red panel here for the earth. So let's grab our circle tool again. Boom, boom, boom. Let's just draw 2 random circles here. It'll work out in the wash. There is a whole heap of tricks that we can do with relationships to make everything really easy, but I don't want to overcomplicate this right now. So we've got 2 circles. Let's get our dimension tool, and the circles are both going to be 18 millimeters in diameter. So I'm just clicking on that outside edge, clicking again, and you'll see they're both 18 millimeters in diameter. Now they're both going to be 20 millimeters from this top line. So with our dimension tool still selected, we're going to hit the top line, come down, click on the center of that circle and make that 20, and we're going to do the same again. Now in a perfect world, we'd actually create a horizontal relationship between those 2 center points, so that if one moved, the other did at the same time. Like I said, I don't want to overcomplicate everything for us right at this stage. Now we need to just distance these 2 circles properly. So this circle here, if we click on, our Smart Dimension tool is still selected, we're going to click on that center dot. We're going to come over and select that outside line, and we're going to make that 15.5 millimeters. Now the distance between this dot and this dot, that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to click on this dot, single left click on that dot, and we're almost there. It's 19.5. Boom. That's that one there. Now we have one more thing to do, which is the red panel down the bottom. Now the red panel is basically just a straight rectangle, so we're going to grab the corner rectangle tool, click on this bottom corner, draw a rectangle. Now you'll see when I actually connect with that edge, it turns orange. It's coincident with that outside edge, so we're going to click that there. And there's only really one dimension we need to put on here, and that is the thickness, or how high up the circuit board it runs. So let's get our dimension tool, and we only need to select this. You'll notice I can click the top and the bottom, or you'll notice just this little line highlights, not the whole panel, just this little line. And that, my dear friends, is going to be 10.5 millimeters. Let's click enter. That is the outline of the red parts on the Makey Makey. So what we're going to do to make it sort of stand out as a bit of a feature, if we go over here to the extrude button, we're going to select that. Now what we want to do is we don't want to add it, okay, because we're going to do that with the copper tracks. We're going to add those in. What we want to do is we want to remove what we've just drawn, which means we're going to take a little bit of material out so that sticks in. So here we've got obviously new, add, remove, intersect. Obviously we're going to remove, and my suggestion is we're only going to go 0.5 millimeter deep. We don't want anything to stand out too much. We just want it to be noticeable. So I'm going to click on the 25 and type in 0.5 and press enter. Bada boom, and green tick. there's the first part, well actually the second part. There are only 5 steps to making this circuit board. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh my god, is this ever going to end? We've done 2 parts already and there's only 5. Okay, here we go. We've got some trickies coming in here. We are going to do now the copper tracks of this circuit board, okay? The arrows are probably the trickiest to do, but I trust that you're going to work this out. What I want you to do is left click in on that cross there, so it turns orange, just like you can see. And we're going to click the sketch button. So what we're actually doing is now we're drawing on that surface that's cut in a little bit. Alright, so when we do the copper tracks, we're going to extrude them back out 0.5 millimeter and they're going to sit level with the circuit board. Alright, let's start with the easy ones. Let's do the little 2 orange copper circles in here. So let's grab our circle tool. Now, if you're, all you need to do is if you move your cursor, once you've got your circuit tool, if you move your cursor sort of in around this internal circle area, you can see once you get to the center point, a little square appears. So we're going to left click and draw a circle, and the same on this one, left click and draw a circle. A D on the keyboard for dimension, or you can select it up there. And the diameter of these are 12. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The next easy one we're going to do is the earth panel at the bottom. So, rectangle tool, and we're not on the corner, alright? We're in from the corner a little bit, because if you have a look at that circuit board, you've got the red panel either side. So, we're just going to come in a little bit, and we're going to click, and we're not going all the way to the top. We're just going to draw something like that. And here's the next one. We're going to draw another rectangle, and it's going to be attached to this line here, but it's not going all the way to the top, to that line. Okay, so what I want you to do, and it doesn't matter where you put it because we're going to dimension it, I want you to make sure that top line there is orange, click, and we're going to just draw just a little rectangle like that. So you'll see now we've got 2 rectangles, none of them are touching that top line. If you do that by accident, Control Z, undo, grab your rectangle tool and do it again. And now we just put some dimensions into this little guy here, so D on the keyboard, nice and easy. The gap between those 2 edges, and I just did that pretty quick, I'll show you again. Dimension tool, click on that edge, boom, 2 millimeters. Same on the other side. That edge, 2. This height is going to be 8 millimeters. So we click on that one, click on the bottom row, bring that over, make that 8. And this overall height between this line here, not the big full line, but there's just this one here, this overall height and to the bottom line is going to be 10. So we end up with about 0.5 millimeter here, and that's just to help us differentiate when the whole circuit board's done. Trust me, it'll work out. Now, the last thing is this little line here. I'm going to click that, come over and click that line and bring that down. That's going to be 41. Control button and hold my scroll wheel down just so I can keep that sort of zoom effect. I'm going to click on that line and that edge, and that's going to be 41. And when I make that 41, notice all those lines that were blue have now turned black, which means that part of the sketch is fully defined. Now I just want to get rid of this little line in the middle here. The trick is there's actually 2 lines over top of each other because we drew 2 rectangles. We drew the first big rectangle and then the little rectangle. So when we get our trim tool, we can click on that line once, but it's still there. We click on it again, boom, it's disappeared. And you're like going, but no, there's another line there. That line is purely just this 8 millimeter reference line. So if I move this 8 millimeters, you'll see how it, I keep pointing to the screen, I forget that you can't see it, but you can see that there's a line up the top here. It's just a reference line. I'll move that over there. All right, here we go. If you've got this far, wicked. All we've got now is the arrows. So we're going to draw one arrow and then we're going to pattern it so you don't have to draw all of them. All right, there's some beautiful cheats in CAD, no matter what CAD software you use, and it's really cool. So we're going to get past the tricky stage of the first arrow and then we're just patterning it. Boom. All right. My first suggestion is, should I? Yes, I'm going to. We're going to select the corner rectangle tool and we're just going to draw a rectangle in there like that. Okay? Got that? Perfect. The next thing we're going to do is I actually want to put a center line right through so that I make sure that whatever we do is going to be even, straight in the middle. So we're going to select the line tool and then select the construction tool, and on this top line here, as I move my mouse towards the center, you'll notice a little box appears, and that's defining the center of that top line. So we want to draw just a construction line from that point down to the circle. So I left click, nice straight line, boom, like that. And I'm just going to press escape on my keyboard just to get rid of that line. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Again, we could put in multitude of dimensions, but I actually don't want to. Right now, all I want to do is make this box even either side. So to do that, we're going to create a relationship. These little guys up here are all relationships, and whether you're using OnShape or Fusion 360 or Autodesk Inventor or SolidWorks, everything will have relationships. Now what we want is this to be symmetrical, so we're going to choose the symmetric relationship. So I'm going to select that by clicking left click, and I'm simply clicking 1, 2, 3 lines. Now if your eyes were quick enough, you would have seen that they kind of moved to the point where now it's equal either side. So if I deselect out of that relationship, and now if I drag this line, you can see wherever I put it, the other side follows. Let's make that a known width of 5mm. So let's grab our dimension tool, click on this top line, draw that number up and make that 5. Which means I don't have to put 2.5 on this side and 2.5 on that side because it's symmetrical. How's that? The next thing we want to do is we are going to make this, and did I put on my drawing? I'm just having a look at my drawing here. I don't think I did put an overall width length on there. That was, well, I would have in the first drawing, but I forgot to do it in this drawing. So bear with me. I'm just going to time travel back to the other one and have a look. And we're back. Alright. Okay, alright, I get it. Okay, let's get our dimension tool. This is going to be 11mm. So we're going to make that 11mm. Ah, see what happened? My blue line went above. I don't want that. Bump bump. So I'm going to deselect my dimension tool and just hover and left click and drag that down a bit. There is actually a dimension to go in this top section here. So let's do that now. Let's grab our dimension tool and click on this top line and this top line, and that is going to be 1.5. Okay. All right. Bum, 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 bum. Now, we want the arrowhead. Pretty simple, really. Let's grab our line tool. Let's click on this top point here, and we're going to draw a line out. Not on, don't click on that edge there. We want to come out past that edge like that, and then we're going to come back into that edge like that. That simple. All right. What we're going to do now is dimension that. So we're going to say this line here. Don't click on the line like that. I was hoping it would do what it does in SolidWorks, but it didn't. So with our dimension, we want to click on that dot in the middle and that dot at the bottom, and now we can come straight out. We don't want to come up on an angle like that. We want to come straight out. So bring that straight out. Could I say straight out? No. 5 millimeters. And then this little squidgy line here, that's going to be 1.5. Just like that. And you'll notice now that's gone all black. We could mirror those two lines if we wanted to. But when I did it last time, everything sort of went a little bit haywire. But we'll try it. We'll see what happens. Here's the mirror tool. Now, when I select that mirror tool, you'll see there's a prompt that comes up and it says select a mirror line. And the mirror line is always the thing that's in the middle. It's always the line that we want the other lines to mirror from. It's the only way I can say it. So select it. Now it says select the entities to be mirrored. Well, I want this angled line to be mirrored. Boom. And I want this bottom line to be mirrored. Boom. That easy. Come back up to the ribbon here and deselect the mirror tool. Not that hard, hey. Okay, let's trim out some of these solid lines because we don't want them anymore. So let's grab our trim tool and we're going to get rid of all of the lines and those two dots that determine what's what. Now what's happened is you've noticed our arrow has turned blue again, which means it's underdefined. So if we go to pattern this, it's going to go all hickledy-pickledy. So let's just fix that back up, and I know that it means duplicating, but it's a quick and easy fix. We're going to click the dimension tool, top of the arrow, bottom of the arrow, bring that over. It's already 11, press enter. We're going to go from the top of the arrow to the top of that. It's already 1.5. We're going to press enter. I hope this works. You'll notice the bottom line is now turned black. We're going to click side and bring that up and press enter. And then we're just going to, I wonder if we do those two and press enter. Still didn't. It's made everything else black but these two angles. So the computer says, well, we want to know what that angle is. So all we're going to do is click that angled line, bring that dimension in and just press enter. Don't have to change anything. And see how our arrow is now all black, fully defined. There's a fly. Alright, that's the hardest part. That is the hardest part. If you've got through that, thumbs up. What we're going to do now is we're going to pattern this arrow so we don't have to do all of that again. And you would think, because it's sort of a boxy, squarish sort of shape, that we would do a linear pattern, but no, we're going to do a circular pattern. So up here, you've probably got linear pattern as the first button, but if you click the drop down, you'll see circular pattern. So I want you to choose that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, and we'll select all of the edges to be patterned. Okay, so you see that's orange. Now if I zoom out, you'll notice I've got a point sitting down here in the corner because it wants to pattern from the origin, from 0, 0, 0. Remember when we very first started? So it wants to pattern from there, but we don't want it to pattern from the origin. We want it to pattern from the middle of this circle. So I'm going to grab this box dot by holding my left mouse button on it. And you'll notice as I drag it up, those arrows are dragging into place. And it actually wants to lock onto that. It wants to lock onto many reference points, but we want it to lock onto that reference point there. And obviously we don't want 3, we want 4 arrows. So you'll see up here it says 3 times, which is the original and then 2 copies. So if we double click on that 3 and change it to 4 and press enter, boom, we've got 4 arrows. Life is good. I'm just going to, oh, why did that do that? Golly gee. Okay. That's okay. It's okay to have things go south. So when I tried to undo my dimension, it just did that. Proving to you that things happen to the best of us. So I'll just do this again. I pressed escape instead of pressing enter. That's what happened. So I've got that in there now. Double click on that, change that to 4, press enter, and then press enter again. Now we've got 4 arrows. Alright, so just to remind yourself, once you've changed that 3 to 4 and press enter on your keyboard again for it to accept that pattern. Alright, if they disappear like mine did the first time, you just have to go back and do that circular pattern again, which means with this video, rewind it back a little bit. Alright, congratulations guys, that's probably the hardest part of this whole tutorial. Now what we want to do is we just want to extrude those copper panels out, so we're going to come up here to the extrude button on the ribbon. You'll notice it's automatically found all of the sketches that we just confined in that drawing. It's up here, it says add, which is what we want it to do. We want it to be solid. The depth, we want to change it to 0.5. So 0.5 and enter on my keyboard and green tick. And you'll notice now, if you hold your scroll wheel down, we're not going to go to the degree of all the little alligator clip holes. We don't need that, okay? We just don't need that. But that's the front of your board. Now the good thing about OnShape is it's an online software, so it's kind of constantly saving. What we want to do now is we want to put the pins on the back. So we're just going to roll this around, and to get it lined up nicely, hit the back button there. Now this is really quick and really easy. Seriously, believe me. We have 4 black mounting pin thingies, and then we've got the programming power kind of port here. So we're going to draw these 4 black ones first, make them happen, and then that little mounting power cord. Done! Alright, so we're on the back view. Let's click that back surface so it turns orange. I'm just going to center that by control button, pan, pressing down my scroll wheel, and we're going to come up here to sketch. Now all I want you to do is we've got 4 of those pins randomly located around the board, so let's get our corner rectangle tool and let's just start by drawing 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now all of those pins are the same length and same width, so we're going to get our smart dimension tool. And we're going to go up here. They're all 15 millimeters long. Don't worry that they all jumped around like that. And they are all, where's my thickness of this? What have I done? Oh, don't tell me I have to teleport back again. No, I'm just going to measure it quickly. I reckon they were only 3 millimeters wide. So 3. Okay. So they're all going to be 15 and 3, 15 and 3, and 15 and 3. Okay, got that? Easy peasy. That's the first part. Now all we have to do is position where they are on the board. I'm just going to make sure that, yeah, alright. So the first thing we're going to do is dimension this one here from the top. So grab our dimension tool and we're going to go on this line and this top line, and that one's going to be 7 millimeters from the top, and then it's going to be from this edge to this edge 37 millimeters. Notice now that rectangle has turned completely black, which means happy days is where it needs to be. The next pin we need to do is this one here. Is going to be 3.5 millimeters from the edge. So we're going to go there and make that 3.5. And then from the bottom of the board to to the bottom of the pin, that's going to be 21. Now that one's turned all black, so we're on our way, guys. This one is going to be 8mm from the bottom, so from that line to the bottom of the board is 8, and from this outside edge to this edge, that's going to be 39. And then our last one here, this one is again 3.5mm in from the edge. Again, if I'm going too fast, guys, pause the video. Alright, do one step, pause the video, go and do it. Come back, watch a little bit of the video, pause it, go and do the step. Alright, I don't expect you to remember it all and then try and do it all in one hit. That's why we have the video, so that you can pause, do. Go back if you get stuck. What do we need to do now? Just set the height from the bottom of the circuit board. So from here to here, that is going to be 21. That makes all of those black pins on the back of the board there, which we haven't used yet, but if we're going to mount this board inside of a controller, we need to make sure that our controller has space for them. So that's made all of those work. We're going to extrude them, and they sit 9mm up from the board. So if I spin that around, you can see that they're currently all there. So I'm going to go 9, and that drops it back down a bit. If we select merge, which I haven't done on any of the other ones, but if we select merge, it just makes it all part of the design. So if you ever 3D printed it, it would actually be all connected. If we never select merge, these guys will be identified as their own independent little sucker. So let's green tick. One more thing. I told you there was 5 steps. We've done 4. The power plug, or the programming plug, whichever way we use it or want to control it or you to refer to it. So again, let's click on this big surface here, create a sketch, get our rectangle tool, and it's as simple as let's just draw a rectangle there like that. Now, dimension tool. Boom. The first dimension is this guy overhangs by 1mm. So we're going to click on top line and that line. I'm going to make it 1. And I did not put my dimensions in as to how long it is. It's 11. So we're going to make this line here 11. And I did put this dimension in, which is 8. And I did put the final dimension in, which is between this edge and this edge. So boom and boom, and that's going to be 32. Boom. That rectangle now is all black. It's fully defined. Good to go. Let's click extrude, and we are going to extrude this. It is only 4.5mm thick. And if you wanted to, you could click the merge. For this exercise we don't have to, but you can get into practice. Green tick, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the dummy draft of your Makey Makey circuit board. Congratulations.